Because if you could solve puzzles, you would already know that not only was the chicken sandwich poison, it contained a key. A key that unlocks these chains. A key that is now lodged inside of his lower intestines. And a key that you have to get.
How do you know all this stuff?
How do you think I know all this?
I don't know.
In this week's episode of the Creep Tapes, Peachfuzz is channeling his inner John Kramer when he puts his latest victim in a trap lifted directly from the original Saw. Tonight we are talking the season 2 episode, Mark. Stay tuned. Everybody, welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Tonight we are getting started again on TV week, and folks, that means we are headed back to the shelf and we are about to pop in another one of the Creep Tapes. Tonight we are taking a look at the season 2 episode Mark, and you are in for a real delight with this one here, folks. But before we jump into that, make sure you're hitting that follow button, hit that subscribe button no matter where you are tuning in to catch this review. Got a lot of great content on the channel right now, including reviews for Influencers, Dracula, Send Help, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and we got a lot of really good stuff coming up that I'm going to tell you about here at the end of the show. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button so you can stay on top of all your horror needs. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right on into things here with season 2 of the Creep Tapes. We are talking Mark. Now, Peachfuzz traps himself and his latest victim in an abandoned factory, shackled at the ankles with a dead body between them. As his victim Mark awakes, they hear instructions from a killer known as the Wolf Slayer, giving them riddles on how to escape. Unfortunately, Mark isn't the smartest of victims, and amid growing frustration, Peachfuzz breaks his act in order to walk Mark through the rest of these riddles and his clues. While Mark does eventually find a way out, unfortunately, it's a way right into Peachfuzz's axe. And there it is, y'all. That is the season 2 episode of the Creep Tapes, Mark. Now, I said you're in for a delight, and I meant that. Folks, I am not over-exaggerating when I say this. Mark is easily the most hilarious that we have seen Peachfuzz across this entire franchise. You know, when I've been talking about this show and in my review of the films, I've talked about how Mark Duplass is just fantastic when it comes to comedy. Like, don't get me wrong, Peachfuzz is scary and disturbing as hell. But part of the fun of watching the Creep franchise, and especially watching Mark Duplass in this role, is getting to see him bust out these comedic chops that hopefully a lot of y'all remember from The League. His timing, his presence, his body language, the material, because he helps co-write a lot of these episodes. All of this allows him to show off just how much of a badass he is at this. And without question, again, the funniest that we have ever seen Peachfuzz being. Like I mentioned, a big part of this episode is the fact that his victim Mark just isn't figuring things out. You know, we watch the Saw movies, and for the most part, the rules and instructions that Jigsaw gives out to his victims in those films are very straightforward, very easy to figure out. But I'm sure the question has popped up a number of times, as it should with the first film. What happens if they really don't understand what the hell the Jigsaw is talking about? Like, a lot of this really depends on some simple understanding, and if that's not there, Jigsaw's game completely collapses. Or like in the first film, you might remember that the whole secret of that was that the dead body there between Carrie Elwes' character, Gordon, Dr. Gordon, and Adam was Jigsaw. He was there the entire time, keeping an eye on them, hitting the electric shock thing if they ever got too close to getting out, all of that. But the thing about it was that Adam was going to be able to escape because there was a key that was on his foot. But if you remember, the film starts with Adam waking up. That key goes right off of his foot, right down into the drain of the bathtub that he's in, therefore keeping Adam locked in until he eventually dies later on in the franchise. And It's hilarious how much we don't talk about that in the original Saw, because that is such a big part of this episode and why it's so funny. Mark, Peachfuzz's victim, makes it abundantly clear that he's not smart enough for this game, and even basic instructions, simple things that should make a lot of sense, very simple riddles, even if they don't necessarily rhyme, should be easy to figure out, and Mark's just not getting it. And it's so hilarious because Peachfuzz typically doesn't have to break his charade of who he's trying to act like he is this early. Like in last week's episode, it kind of came out because his victim figured out, like, yeah, that's a tarp in the back, I'm probably not in a safe space, and ended up getting away before they could even get to the house to run through his game he was setting up. But in this, Mark is frustrating Peachfuzz so much by not figuring out the simplest things that he literally starts walking him through everything. Oh, that's a TV. Oh, it's a DVD. You left it down. It's scratched. We can't play it now. All these things with Mark not figuring anything out. It is hilarious watching Peachfuzz get frustrated and ultimately have to just say, you know what? Screw this at this point. You're not getting it. I'm not having fun with this. So now I have to walk you through this step by step by step. And Mark Duplass has got a great partner to act opposite this one, which it's been great all season. But here he's paired up with Robert Longstreet, a Mike Flanagan regular, who you probably would know from Midnight Mass or Dr. Sleep. But Mark is this truly inept victim who is in the wrong place at the wrong time. We find out that this was Peachfuzz's way of trying to do what Dexter does. He name drops Dexter and says he was watching the show and the idea that Dexter just goes only after bad people and that he was going to try that out. And so his victim was actually going to be this guy named John, who has been drugging his patients. He's a doctor and taking advantage of them. And so Peachfuzz was going to deal with him to see if that gave him any kind of joy. But between Dexter and then setting up a scenario from the original Saw film, which the entire exchange between Peachfuzz and Mark discussing that, and how Mark has actually seen the Saw movie and is giving him information, and Peachfuzz is like, yeah, I never watched it. It goes to show you that he doesn't understand what America's obsession is with serial killers. And I know y'all have to think the same thing. In the past 20 years, we have just fallen in love with the idea of serial killers in America and making them our heroes. It happens so fucking much. And granted, I'm cool with the fictional ones. I was a fan of Barry. I'm a huge fan of Dexter, obviously. Love shows and films like that. I just don't deal too well with the real life ones because look, we have enough monsters in real life. I like them to be fictional so we don't have to really engage with that. So I don't get the romanticism of real life serial killers, but yeah, I admit it. I do enjoy me a good fictional one. That's what I grew up on. They're the most fun in the world. And I love that Peachfuzz gets to tap into that and openly admit he can't watch any of those things because he has an overactive imagination and he likely would steal so many ideas and try to replicate those. And the one thing that Peachfuzz and the Creep tapes and the Creep franchise just in general does so exceptionally well is the fact that they never seem like they're ripping anything off. And when they do, they acknowledge it directly that Peachfuzz is just trying something out that he saw in a movie or in a TV show or read in a book. And I love that because I think it would be so easy in a show, a film series about a slasher to become very derivative. We've seen a lot of the same kills and same setups in a lot of the franchises that we've been watching over the years at this point. And the Creep tapes, Creep franchise in general, just feels so fresh in the way that they present a serial killer to us and the way that he concocts his schemes. Like some of these ones, something as simple as killing somebody with a plastic bag, which he did in the first season, can end up being the most disturbing thing, and it's not something that we get to see too often in any kind of serial killer media that's out there right now. The fact that this ended up being the most hilarious episode of the show combined with the most bloodiest episode, and that's saying a lot because he kills somebody in every single episode of this show. He's killed people in these movies. It's been fairly bloody that we've seen, but without question, watching a man saw through somebody's body and start ripping through their guts, which somehow is still just hilarious as well, the way it's done. You have to watch it in the way that Peachfuzz tries to help with the axe. Even with that, the two balance each other extremely well. This show does such an excellent job of balancing that comedy and those horror elements that as soon as it starts to lean one way or the other, they correct course very quickly and make sure that those get balanced out. I mean, you know, I recently was talking about horror comedies and how, like, sometimes they're just a little too much leaning on one side. Not an issue here with the Creep Tapes. And again, in what is the most hilarious episode of this show thus far, the most hilarious way we've seen Peachfuzz portrayed, they somehow still keep this at a very good balance with it all here. It makes me excited because we've already been said there's going to be a third season of the show. I'm crossing my fingers we're going to get more than that. But it really makes me want to see Peachfuzz do more homages to these films. Like, I want Peachfuzz to set up a kill at a summer camp and give us a total Jason thing. He's already got the axe at that point. That would be so cool. Or give us a fake vampire or something. Like, you know, he kind of did that in one of the episodes back in the first season. But, like, I want to see him send up more homages to these classic films that we all grew up on, because when Mark Duplass is doing it, it is absolute gold. So you need to go and check this episode out right now over on Shudder, over on Prime Video. You can go and check out the entire Creep Tape Season 2 right now for yourself. And let me know in the comment section, what killer would you like to see Peachfuzz emulate next? Would it be cool to see him doing a Freddy? Should he try to do like a Pinhead? What would be cool to see Peachfuzz busting out here? And this is a perfect time for you to get subscribed to my channel so you're staying on top of all the content that we're going to be dropping. This week, again, like I said, is TV week, so I'm going to be doing reviews for more episodes of Dexter Resurrection, as well as Welcome to Derry. And folks, I am going to try to get my interview with Tales from the Crypt actress Sherry Rose out to you this week. We got some big stuff there coming out of that interview, but if I don't have it for you this week, that's going to be coming next week for sure. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, folks. I appreciate you tuning in yet again for another review. That's going to do it for me tonight here, though, folks. My name is T. We'll be talking scary movies. Stay scared.